Hi, in this brief video I'm going to describe how ADS build and deployment activities can be performed using an external DevOps toolchain, and we'll get to see an example working. ADS is designed with an open build and deployment process. It uses Git as its rule repository, Maven for builds, and these builds can be orchestrated with tools like Jenkins. When ADS needs an artifact repository, we can use something like Nexus. These tools are well used in DevOps circles, and this allows a DevOps engineer to incorporate ADS build activities into their existing release management processes. If you've only done deployments using the deploy button inside the ADS Decision Designer, you might be wondering why you need an external DevOps toolchain to begin with. The built-in deployment process is a great start. It uses Git and Maven and Jenkins underneath, but you don't need to know anything about DevOps. It just deploys the decision service to the runtime, hosted alongside the decision designer. But this approach is limited. It doesn't do automatic deployments. You can't coordinate the ADS build activities with other build activities. So, for example, other components that might be being built at the same time. And it only deploys to the embedded runtime. If you need more control over builds, then you can integrate ADS with your existing DevOps processes. You control the versions that are built, where and how they are built, and where they're deployed to. It's all about control and flexibility. So development builds can be deployed automatically as soon as the rules are shared, i.e. push to Git. You can create build jobs that are based on a specific Git tag. Now ADS tags the repository whenever you create a version in ADS. So you can use that Git tag, create a branch from that, and then have your Jenkins job configured to only build that branch. The builds can create artifacts that are stored. They're not deployed until later. The builds can include tests. You can deploy to different environments, and you can incorporate these build activities into larger workflows with approvals and emails orchestrated through things like Jenkins. So to give you a preview of what's coming up in the demo, we'll see ADS pushing a change of rules to Git. And as soon as these changes arrive in Git, Git's going to use a webhook to start a build job on Jenkins. And this will be a Maven build. It will declare all the dependencies it has on any of the ADS jar files. It will pull those out of the Nexus repository. It will perform the build, store the decision service archive that it's built in the local Maven repository on Jenkins. Then it will use the REST APIs exposed by the decision runtime to deploy this decision service archive into the runtime, and then we'll be able to see the effect of that in Postman. Postman will be behaving like a typical client system, and it will always be executing the last deployment of a particular decision service. So without changing anything, we'll see the effect of the rule changes in Postman. Okay, so let's see these tools working together to build and deploy an ADS decision service. So we'll start off in ADS, and here you can see I've got a simple decision model that takes in a number and a name. It does some maths. It adds a number to whatever number is provided as input. In this case it's number 5, and the output node basically includes this message: hello, whatever your name was. I've got a message in here that says what time I changed the rules last. This was 1422. You can see now it's 1442, and we get the calculation result. And if I click on run, this is the result that we'll get. Now if I switch over to Postman and click send, this is executing directly against the decision runtime. It's always executing the last deployed version of this decision service, and here we can see the output. Hello Fred, change the rules at 1422, and the output is 7. This is what we see in ADS. So over in the Jenkins dashboard, we can see the various jobs. We've got ADS Simple Dev, which is the Jenkins job that's connected to the same Git repo as that ADS project you just saw me working in. This ADS Simple Prod is just using a different branch label. So this job could be handling the builds for production support fixes and deploying them to a different runtime. So in the ADS Simple Dev job, I can see these are the different builds, and the last build was this machine is in a different time zone, 822. It coincides, if you like, with the change to the rule logic, 1422. So that's the Jenkins dashboard. We can also see in the ADS REST endpoint that gets the deployed decisions. If I click on execute, we can see these are all the decision IDs that have been deployed. You can see the last one here, ADS simple DevOps 36. This is just a kind of a label I'm using for the decision ID that includes the build number from Jenkins. So last build was build 36. We can see that that's now been incorporated into the decision ID. Okay, so let's make a change to the rules, just a simple change. Let's go back. We'll change the calculation logic. This, instead of it adding 5, it's going to add 6. And in the output, I'm going to change the message to, instead of being 1422, looking at the clock here, it's 1443. And if I click run, we should see the output change inside ADS, but the changes haven't gone anywhere. To have these changes incorporated into a build, I need to share these changes. And this does a git commit and push. So changed at 1443. Now this is going to commit the changes to Git, and that's immediately going to start a build in Jenkins, because there's a Git webhook that notifies Jenkins as soon as a commit is made. So I'm going to click on share, and then I'm going to jump over to the Jenkins dashboard. And we can see the last build was 36. And then here we can see build 37. It's currently pending, and now it's started. And I can go into the output of that build, and this is the Maven build running. So it's just a Maven job. The Maven build configuration is exported by ADS, and this Maven build job that's running in Jenkins uses that Maven configuration, downloads any dependencies it needs, builds the decision service archive, and the last step of the decision service build will be to deploy the decision service archive into the ADS runtime. And we can see there here at the bottom that's now completed. We can see build number 37. This was deployed. If I go into the UI, this is the REST API endpoint that allows me to look at the embedded runtime. If I click on execute, previously we had build 36, but now we'll have build 37. So that's now been deployed. Over in Postman, if I click on send, I'm not expecting this to change. The endpoint we're using here includes an implicit query to always check for the last deployment of this particular decision service. So as the decision service is deployed, made ready for use, we'll see these results update. Selecting the last deployment to be executed might not be what you want. Maybe you want to select the highest version number, and there's another endpoint that will do that, but for my purposes this is sufficient. And in a moment I'll click on send, and we should see the results update. So here we can see the rule changes finally reflected in the runtime result. Okay, so this summarizes what we've just seen in the demo. We've seen an ADS change push to Git. This has started a Jenkins job. There's a build. This build has produced a decision archive, which has then been pushed to the decision runtime. And once it's all ready, we see the results updated in Postman. To create this demo, I had to build the toolchain you see here. And if you're interested in the toolchain configuration, I have another video planned, so look out for that in the near future. Otherwise, you can contact me directly on the email on the first slide. But until then, thanks for watching, and goodbye.